buses. Outlets at the industrial site, Bay Road and on 4th Street. Opening hours from 5 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Easy no man. Island bakeries, good to the last crumb. Island bakeries, good to the last crumb.
The South 98.9 winnfm.
I ain't got no hurricane safety tips now. Well, Skeleton got, and together we can weather the storm. So, check this. Prepare for power outages. Charge devices before a storm strikes. Develop a plan in the event that electricity goes. Learn where and how to shut off your home's electricity. Ensure that there are no trees in the lines near you. If you are experiencing low voltage, turn off the main switch in your home. Do not touch wet appliances. Be sure to stay tuned to Skelec's Facebook page and website for updates about the outages and restoration. For emergencies, our contact numbers are 465-2013, 661-2013, and 600. I repeat, 465-2013, 661-2013, and 600. Remember, with Skelec's hurricane safety tips, together we can weather the storm.
Don't throw those bottles away. Turn them into money today. Vitamalt bottles equal cash in your pocket. It's super easy. Just take those empty Vitamalt bottles to any Cara Brewery distribution truck or any drinks depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're keeping our beautiful Twin Island paradise clean. Vitamalt bottles equal cash back. Keep it clean, keep it green. Vitamalt bottle returns. Your bottles, your cash, your island.
One love, one federation. It's the 27th Prime Minister's Lecture Series under the theme Perpetual Progress, a Sustainable Future in View, Independence 42. Join us on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at the Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank at 7 p.m. sharp. Come out to witness an inspiring address by your proud daughter of the soil, Miss Willa Liber Tavernier, scholarly communication librarian and attorney at law. An evening of thought, vision, and national purpose awaits. One stage, one voice, one vision for our nation's future. It's the 27th Prime Minister's Lecture Series for Independence 42. All are invited to be part of history in motion.
And that's why we have to put aside foolish minds and remember me say, one love, one federation. God bless my little nations, and you know that it would have been impossible, yeah.
St. Kitts and Nevis, Hospital's Value Mart is saying thank you in a big way. Join us for Bag the Savings Customer Appreciation Weekend, celebrating 150 years of SL Hoxford and Company. This one's for you, our valued customer. From Thursday, September 18 to Saturday, September 20, every customer will receive a free limited edition reusable shopping bag while supplies last. Plus, shop on Thursday and Saturday. Spend over $100 and walk away with a free $20 coupon towards your next purchase. It's our way of showing appreciation to you. So come celebrate, stock up, and save big during Bag the Savings Customer Appreciation Weekend. Only at Hospital's Value Mart. Hospital's Value Mart. Bag the savings, bag the value. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most.
Back to school is here at Harper's. Yes, Harper's, it's where it's at with the widest selection of school and art supplies for all schoolgoers, from the tiniest preschooler to the big cool college students. Plus, everyone can enjoy a 10% discount and a chance to spin the wheel and enter our grand draw in September. And the bonus is, our friendly team is looking forward to welcoming you again and again and again. For more information, call us at 466-6500.
Yeah, we got that.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, and how are you this morning? To the regional and international diaspora, good morning. To the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, good morning. If you're in tune and you're listening to us, we are on your FM dial at 98.9. We're being simulcast on TVC, Channel 40, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Just to remind you, if you wish to join in on the conversation or bring something to the fore, in the UK, our number is 0333 440065. Good morning, UN. In the US, we have 2. Good morning to the Davises over there, Javon, Dennis, Cleo, Skeeter, and Gwinnett, and to all whomever else in the US that listens to us. Good morning, Miss Nisbet Richards. Good morning. In the US, as I was saying, 1718-285-6984 or 1-305-921-4619. And to get us on our local line, it's 466-0989. Quint, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you look fantastic.
Thank you, kind sir. And I wanted to start off with our federation. So I'm going to start off with our sister island of Nevis. And I see that the young men that attend school in Nevis, they can now braid their hair. And I thought when that actually came into fruition here in St. Kitts, I thought it was federal. But I didn't realize it was federal only for the young ladies to wear the extensions and the extra, but not for the young men to braid their hair. And you know, most of the community said it was unfair and the restrictions were outdated and old and all these things, but it has now been enforced. So the young gentleman can wear, let me make sure. So as I mentioned, the young females could have wear the hair extension, but the boys were not allowed to braid their hair. A fraction of the community raised concerns that restrictions were outdated and unfair. Some people suggested that plaits are a traditional hairstyle deeply rooted in culture. We know back then the slave used cornrows to send messages as to escape routes, etc., etc. They said, while others acknowledged that male students should not be penalized for wearing hairstyles that are clean, neat, and well maintained. For several years, however, the wearing of locks was approved, a demonstration of inclusivity and respect for the Rastafarian community. So under the new guidelines over there in Nevis, the boys are allowed to wear cornrows, single plaits, or twists if hair is longer than 2 inches in length. However, short haircuts should not be longer than 2 inches in length and should have no design. So no designs in your hair, young gentlemen. Hair must be properly combed. Ponytails or buns with loose hair will not be permitted. Oh, wow. So they can't wear a bun? They can have a man bun. Extensions or accessories should not be added. Male students are encouraged to keep their hair neat and tidy, suitable for the school environment. The policy change has been welcomed by many parents and members of society who long argue that previous rules were discriminatory. So 2 years later, I'm happy that Nevis has allowed the young gentlemen, because some men just don't want to cut their hair. And some of these young gentlemen, they have really nice hair. And as you said, it's part of our culture. They have a hairstyle of one of them. His hairstyle is dashing. All of the zigzags. I'm looking here and trying to think if the slaves meant we go around that corner, come around this one, you know.
The slaves were very creative.
Yeah. And they had fancy hairdos, and believe it or not, as they say, everything is a cycle and everything goes around and come back around. And when I see these intricacy that these braiders are now using, some of those same hairstyles that were documented back then, they have recreated and added the little extras that they can add to them. So kudos to Nevis on updating your hair policy so that all the young people can join in and the young gentlemen do not have to feel left out, and they can wear their hair neatly, and however, once it is, let me not say however, once it is compliant with the educational guidelines, because I don't want anybody to say I said. And today the doctor won't be in for a weekly dose. However, we will have a rebroadcast of one of our previous episodes at 8:30. But when I was doing a bit of research last night, I noticed September is a month with a lot of health issues. So September is Healthy Aging Month, and a focal point of awareness campaign regarding various health issues, including childhood cancer. I hate that word, but I guess we have to continue to live with it and hope one day we find a cure. Ovarian cancer and prostate cancer. Sickle cell disease, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and pulmonary fibrosis. There are also significant observances for World Suicide Prevention Day, which is tomorrow. Today is the 9th, that's September the 10th, and awareness for conditions like Alzheimer's disease. And it goes on to say World Alzheimer's Day, that is observed on the 21st of September to raise awareness and support for Alzheimer's disease. And the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Month. We know that the fetal can only get alcohol if the parent ingests it. So this awareness raises awareness for this condition, often associated with prenatal alcohol exposure. I could never understand. After you find out you're pregnant, shouldn't you stop drinking alcohol? But then alcoholism is a disease.
Yeah.
So I guess you really can't help.
It's a habit. They say old habits die hard.
Very much so. And when I see the pulmonary fibrosis, that has to do with the lung.
Yeah.
That's lung disease. I didn't know that, As I said, every day I learn something else. But yeah, so September has a lot of things, and I know Alzheimer's is a big thing, not only overseas, because we hear about it a lot in the US, in the UK, and Canada, but it's hitting home for some of us.
Yeah.
Right here in St. Kitts and also around the Caribbean. And I told the doc one time, I said, I think we should touch this one, so we're working on it.
Okay.
Because it's something that affects all of us. And I see a lot of people hurt when somebody that knew you so well no longer knows you.
I've heard Miss Sylvine Henry speak about her mom going through that phase and how it affected their family, and in particular a sister of hers who really took it hard, Yeah.
Oh boy. Listen, we know we come to the earth for a period of time, and we just have to hope for that period of time we get to live a life. I know we will get our little aches and pains, but we get to live our life without a few of the major ailments and health issues that try to plague us as we go along through life. Because as we all know, folks, we're only here for a very short period of time, so let's make the most of it. I'm not here to scare anybody this morning, but I too am aware that I'm only here for this short period. Although sometimes I wish I could know when it would be my time, but I guess that's not my portion to know. And I guess when it happens, I just have to make sure that all is right and in order with my Creator. So a next issue that I saw in the news was this, and the headline reads, Saga surrounds beach bars ordered to relocate as Ritz-Carlton prepares for construction. And it reads as follows. And this article is by Yolanda Weeks, and it's on winnfm.com. For those of you who may want to read it in its entirety, interpret and understand it your way. A brewing controversy has erupted at Friars Bay as some beach bars were ordered to vacate the area to make way for the development of a luxury resort, the Ritz-Carlton. The beach bars, which have long been a staple of the local tourism experience, are located on private land earmarked for the multi-million-dollar hotel project. Mind you, private land. A letter from the Attorney General Chambers dated August 22nd, 2025, had been circulated on social media requesting that beach bars relocate by August the 30th, sparking heated discussions among residents, business operators, and the Attorney General Chambers. On September the 5th, St. Kitts Nevis Attorney General Garth Wilkin discussed the matter on Freedom FM's grounding programs with Jamuela MacPhail and Ambassador Sam Conda. The Attorney General stated that the letter in circulation was a response to a letter sent by a lawyer to the Attorney General Chambers, but the response letter had been leaked. However, AG Wilkin clarified that the state has never owned Friars Bay. It was always privately owned. Friars Bay has never been owned by the state. It has always been private land. It was sold, I believed, in the 80s under the Simmons administration to a gentleman who became a citizen by investment, I believe, and he owned that land by Friars Bay for many years. Part of Friars Bay was bought by Kittitians. Some people own lots. There is Carambola, who is owned by a Kittitian. Then the rest of the land remains owned by a private person, and this was all said by our Attorney General. The Attorney General revealed that the bar operators were first asked to relocate as far back as 2018. Well, I heard something about them asking to be relocated since 2017 by previous owners of the land, but some failed to comply. There are a couple of people over the years who has established bars on Friars Bay on land that was owned by the individual, not on government lands. The individuals was selling the land, I think, when Team Unity first went into office in the mid-teens. There was somebody interested in developing the land and buying it from the original owner. They had a couple of beach bars to deal with. So the beach bars being on the individual's land, not on the beach, private land, entered into leases with the owner of the land. When the owner of the land was reaching to the point of selling the land, they said, okay, we're ending the leases. And this includes the persons that are complaining now, the persons whom the lawyer is acting for, signed leases. I've seen them myself. They gave them notice to quit. So this is January 2018. All of them got letters saying you have rent due which you haven't paid and deliver up the premises. So they didn't move. With construction on the high-end hotel set to begin soon, the new owners of the land issued a letter requesting that the bars relocate. Notices from the property owners were issued to business owners in April 2025, according to Attorney General Wilkin, giving them until August 2025 to vacate. But of the 3 beach bars in the discussion, 2 remain operational there. The 3 beach bars, include Shipwreck Bar, Godfather Bar, and Discovery Bar. Wilkin said, and quote, fast forward, there is somebody who bought the land. Now, in December 2024, the government announced that a private person has bought the lands at Friars Bay. So think about it. As the lands not being Carambola, not being the corner with Carambola, or the rest lands at Friars Bay, or the rest of the lands at Friars Bay, and have entered into an agreement with Marriott International to build a Ritz-Carlton on those lands, on parts of those lands, not their entire lands. So the private owner wrote to the bar operators, and I think there are only 2 now. There are 5 structures, but only 2 operating bars are there. They wrote to the bar owners and said, "We are building a Ritz-Carlton. We know you got notice to quit from the previous owner in 2018. We would like you to leave by the end of August because we are going to start the construction of the Ritz-Carlton on the property." As the bar operators have engaged legal representation to challenge the eviction notices, a formal letter from the attorney representing the bar owners requested an official survey to determine whether the businesses are located on private land or on the public beach. So what this lawyer letter was suggesting was, we are not on your land at Friars Bay, owners, developers of the Ritz-Carlton. We are on the government property. So the Attorney General office wrote a letter saying, first of all, if you are on the beach, you don't have planning permission on the beach. You don't have the license to operate there. You are breaching the same act that creates public access to the beach. So even though you have issues with the landowner for which you were a tenant and now a squatter, we would not give you permission to be on the beach. The beach is only for public use, not for commercial use. So that is what we said. But the practice in St. Kitts and Nevis is when you know you can't win in court, you go to the court of public opinion and try to put pressure on ministers to not follow what the real rules are, end quote. A.G. Wilkin recalled a conversation with his senior member of the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. He said the bar operators were given a recommended opportunity in 2018 to relocate their businesses to Frigate Bay, allowing them to continue their operations. However, one of the owners accepted the offer and instead attempted to set up a new beach bar with plans to continue at the original location. Wilkin recalled, he said, and I quote, "I will give you another fact. In 2017 to 2018, when the original relocation effort started between the then owners and those same bars, other spots were offered to them. Somebody from the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, a senior person, told me that recently that one of the bars that is complaining was offered a spot at Frigate Bay. They assigned a spot and said, we'll give you a lease here. Move from there," so that the development could happen and come to Frigate Bay. A sign went up, but the sign didn't have the name of the bar. So the person from the Frigate Bay Development told me when they went to the person and said, "How come you're moving your bar from Friars Bay and coming to Frigate Bay and changing your name? Don't you have a good name?" and so forth. He said, no, I'm opening up a second spot. The Attorney General stated that the developers have the legal right to proceed with their plans and that the affected bar owners can consult with the Ministry of Tourism to obtain assistance in identifying alternative locations to continue operating. Meanwhile, the Ritz-Carlton project is expected to bring significant economic benefits to the island, including hundreds of jobs during construction and long-term employment once the resort opens. The luxury resort will feature world-class accommodations, fine dining, and spa facilities, aiming to attract high-end travelers and boost the island's global profile as a premier destination. Based on societal feedback, the outcome of the dispute is likely to shape the future of the island's tourism landscape, with some people discussing whether a balance can be struck between the promise of upscale development and the preservation of popular, vibrant, homegrown beach culture at Friars Bay. So that fiasco continues over there.
Yeah, I did hear it in the news, and I jotted down a few things here from the perspective of how it is presented by the Attorney General. I think that what he says sounds logical. You would think that if you were giving such a long period to, make different
moves,
changes and that kind of stuff, that you should do so. This is why we need to hear both sides of the story at all times, because, I mean, what was fascinating was the part where where one individual was told, okay, you could move to Frigate Bay, and then and next thing you know, you saw them having a venue at Frigate Bay
and still keeping
the original one. So that's a position of what they say, having your cake
and eating it too.
And eating it too. So, well, what can you say?
8 years, you know.
Huh? Yeah.
They had 8 years to prepare.
Yeah. So, it is funny how when you hear things first coming from an individual and you take it just in that scope, you say, wow, how despicable. How dare they, you know. And I know I was thinking, well, if you say you have Crown land, you know that means government land. But also what the Attorney General says in terms of going through the proper procedure, even to be on the beach. And so I concur with everything that he says. I don't see why people are lamenting too much when it comes to that. If you're given options, take them.
Take the options, yeah. Because I know what's the one? Jamrock used to be on Friars Bay. And Jamrock moved. Good morning, caller. You're live on Island T.
Good morning, guys.
How are you doing today?
Good morning. I am fine, thank you.
All right.
Well, Quint, like you say, the one where she said that the person was given the opportunity to open the bar at Frigate Bay, but when they're putting up a different name. I had to laugh. It really having your cake and eating it too. Talk about taking advantage. But listening to everything that Cortencia just read out, well, it seemed like they were given ample time to get the house in order, as the Word of God would say. And they didn't take advantage of it, so I guess they're on their own. If it's a private property, what can the government do? What can anybody do?
Yeah.
Nobody can do anything. But Quint, let me share what I've learned. My learning thing that I'm learning as I go about black inventors.
Okay.
I've learned now that a teacher from Washington, D.C., named Miriam Benjamin, she invented a thing called the gong signal in 1888. And how the gong signal was invented, when you go to a fine upscale restaurant, instead of saying, waiter, ma'am, you press a button and it alerts them that you need their attention.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's how we have that button on the plane to signal the air hostess that you need his attention.
Nice. Yeah.
So, good. Kudos to black people.
Kudos to black people. And they say we're nothing. We're subhuman. We don't have any intelligence.
We're low.
No, I
Yeah,
have
that person's
another
being
one.
quiet.
Dr. Patricia Bart, an ophthalmologist, she invented the laser phase probe in 1988. First black woman doctor to receive a medical patent. And her invention can make blind people who have been blind for over 30 years see again. What an awesome egg!
Yeah. When you really look at things, right, most of the crucial inventions on the planet Earth have been made by us.
I mean, amazing. Can you imagine being blind for over 30 years and this doctor invented a laser that can restore your sight?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's my learning lesson for today. I'm learning about black history. Things we never taught in school as I go along. So as I go along, I'm sharing.
Okay.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you, Cleo. Say hi to hubby for us.
Yeah. What about now, Cortencia? We'll take a bit of a commercial break and go right into Weekly Dose. And remember that Weekly Dose, the one that you'll be hearing, is a rebroadcasting of the most recent Weekly Dose.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to celebrate. We're raising our glasses and saying cheers to 20 years as your trusted telecommunications provider. And because we love our amazing customers, we're giving you the chance to win. Every week, we've got exciting prizes just for you. And that's not all. Step into a cash vault for a shot at $2,000 in cash. To qualify, switch to Digicel, activate a 3-day plan or higher, pay your bill in full, sign up for postpaid or a new Digicel Plus internet package. Stay connected, keep enjoying the best service, and get ready to win. 20 years strong, and we're just getting started. Visit a Digicel retail store today.
From the time that you taste it, man, you know that it's greatness. Some ice in your cup, tell your friends drink up. You know that we liming. Signal the bartender. No, we don't need chaser. But if you want, it could mix with anything. We drinking Stones ginger wine, the original ginger wine. We drinking like I say, Stones ginger wine. Greatness is forever.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
As promised, we have the lovely doctor in the house. I know she came and she spoke about the heat, and myself and Quint had that conversation about those wannabe hurricanes taking our winds. I hope they give it back soon. Doc, good morning. It's September. How is the second day? How has the first day been to you, and how has the second day been to you?
The first day was hot. The second day is hot. Good morning. Good morning, Hortensia. Good morning, Quint. Good morning to everybody who's listening to our show this morning. It is terribly hot.
Yeah. I was telling Quint I was sweating yesterday doing chores. Yeah. Too early, too. You are correct.
Yeah. So what can we do? We just have to keep pushing through.
Boy,
like
regardless.
Last night, I'm trying to sleep. The AC's on, the fan is on, and I'm still feeling hot and uncomfortable. I'm like, are these my perimenopausal symptoms? Remember, we got to talk about it and take away the stigma. Or is it just really, really hot?
Yeah.
I think maybe it was a combination of both.
Boy, let's hope it was just really, really hot. And I know we're going to hope those, we hope those stay at bay for now. Yeah, we know how that could be. Ooh, thanks. Thank you, Quinn.
Thanks for the compliment.
Thank you. So let us talk about the truth about obesity. And I put myself in this bracket this morning, asked Quinn, because I let people know what our topic would be prior to now.
Also, the truth about obesity is that I found out that we have 46.6% of our population is obese. Our population here in St. Kitts.
46. Wow.
Yes, 0.6. Don't forget the 0.6 of our population is obese, and that is a serious problem, health problem. We know that obesity is a disease, and it's one of the non-communicable diseases that leads to so much complication. So I'm going to give you a couple of stats, Hortensia, so that you could keep this in mind, and we're going to discuss it as we go along. So the global adult overweight percentage in 2022 was 43%. And the global adult obesity is 16%. Those are data from 2022. Overweight children, less than 5 years old, there are about 35 to 37 million children worldwide. And children and adolescents that are overweight is about 390 million, with 160 million who are obese. And all this is data from 2022. And in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have approximately 46.6% adults who are with obesity. And it's projected by 2035, about 50% of the world population would be overweight. And about 2 billion would be obese.
Wow.
So it is a pandemic of obesity that we have here.
So what is obesity?
Yeah, we talk about obesity all the time, and sometimes it was always just a stigma of saying, "Oh, you're just fat, you need to take care of it," and so. But we know that obesity is a disease, and it is very complex, and it's also chronic, and so it affects our health and overall quality of life. So it's when we have excessive amount of body fat, and it can affect our self-esteem, it can affect our mental health, and also, importantly, our physical health, and lead to a lot of chronic diseases.
So tell us how obesity is calculated.
So, though not perfect, we have what we call the body mass index calculator, BMI. So body mass index. So it speaks to, and how do you calculate it? You can look on the internet and you'll always find a quick way to calculate it. But it actually takes your body weight in kilograms divided by your height. Okay, in meters square, and you get that number, and so there is a range of that. So when we talk about BMI, we use that as a way to measure whether a person is normal size in terms of their weight and height, whether they are overweight, whether they are obese.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the classification.
So when we talk about obesity, using the BMI metrics, we have 3 main groups. It could be category 1, category 2, or category 3, so mild, moderate, or severe. So you're going to be considered with a normal body weight between 25, your body BMI, up to what we call 29.9. Okay, so once you fall within that range. Once you get above 30, you're considered now obese. Overweight is once you're above 25, right, to 29.9. So you're overweight. Once you get above 30 or above, you're in that obese category. So class 1 would be 30 to 34 to 35. 30 to 35. Class 2, 35 to less than 40. And anything about 40 kilograms per meter squared, you're going to be considered massively obese, and of course you're in the higher category, which is class 3.
Why is our waist circumference important? As I was telling Quint earlier, I do not know why the fat have to go there and stop there.
Yes, our body, because it depends on, that's another meter or metric that we use to measure or to speak about obesity. In males, we talk about once your circumference, so you put your tape line around your waist and you measure at the level of your umbilicus or your navel. And in men, if it is above 40 inches, we know that that is considered obese, okay? And in female, anything more than 35 inches, all right? And it is known that fat, that visceral fat, is so very important in terms of measuring obesity, because having that larger abdominal fat leads to much more chronic diseases, metabolic syndromes, the hypertension, the diabetes, and all that come with it. That's why it's important to take the BMI for what it's worth, but that's the best metric that we have right now, but it doesn't take into consideration a body's muscle, the person's muscle mass, okay? And it is different where your weight is distributed. Some persons may have their weight more on their lower body, so they're wider in the hips. It's not the same when you have a larger abdominal girth. Okay, so that is very important when you calculate what we call the abdominal circumference. That speaks to your visceral fat, and that speaks to a lot of complications associated with it.
Yeah, that girth, that's problems. Let's talk about the causes of this obesity.
Well, people used to think that all it was, and sometimes we still want to think that it's calories in versus calories out. So you want to make sure that your input is less than your output. So people would say, oh, it's just because you're eating too much. It's just because you're not exercising enough. But we know that it's much more complex than that. It has to do with your mental wellness, your physical wellness, psychologically as well too. And there are lots of different contributors to this obesity that we speak about. Certain medications that we know that we use, persons who take medications like steroids if they have some kind of autoimmune disease, you take antidepressants. I remember specifically a young student came and saw me and said her weight kept going on, so she started taking these antidepressants. If you're taking medication for diabetes, commonly we know that diabetes is so prevalent in our community, and so persons' weight increases. And certain medications that we use for hypertension, like the beta blockers. Persons who are disabled, it's not the same that you're healthy and that you can be as active, and once you are bedridden, you're disabled, you've lost a limb due to some disease or an accident. Persons, we can talk about your eating habits. Lots of time our eating habits are poor. We eat late at night. We eat lots of food that is high in carbohydrates, because sometimes we're on the go, we want to grab something quick. It is easy then to prepare a healthy meal, a good meal. So our eating habits, we consume so much fats and saturated fats and food that rich in processed foods, and so that's going to be a problem. We have genetics as well too. Genetics is very important because your genetical makeup is not the same as mine, okay? And persons are different. And persons who are obese, that is why it's considered a disease. We're finding that their genes specifically associated with obesity. Wow. So persons who are obese is not just, they're not doing enough. They're genetical risk factors and lack of physical activity. Yeah. We're oftentimes we're working much longer hours, we're exhausted, we're getting up late, and we are not exercising. By the time it's 5:30, you're saying that you're too tired now, all you want to do is lie in the bed. Lack of sleep. Last night I hardly got any sleep. I'm restless, you're thinking several things going through your mind, you're hot, it is sticky, and you're not able to sleep. So if your body do not get enough rest, you know that your hormones like the cortisol, those are going to increase. That favors you increasing your weight and depositing of the fat and fat into your fat cells and making your fat cells larger, etc. So those are some of the reasons why a person would become fat, along with underlying conditions. You've ever heard of persons with thyroid diseases? They tend to become much more heavier. Heavier. If you know that your thyroid is not functioning enough, we know that. Persons who have polycystic ovarian diseases. I was shocked.
You see my face because I'm like polycystic?
Yes. So these females tend to have problems with their weight as well. Oftentimes you see them be placed on things like metformin, the same drug that we use for diabetes, because there's some hormonal changes there too, imbalance. So persons who have things like Cushing disease, where there's an abnormal increase in cortisol in the body, things like that leads to us having obesity. So it's no one single factor for most persons, and especially as we get older, even us as we get into our menopausal years. For women, they talk about 3 stages in life. When you're a young girl and you start getting into puberty, you start your menstrual cycle, there's an increase in weight. Once you get pregnant, there's another period there, and once you're going through menopause, that's another period.
I always say that period is the last period where you get to look hot before you die. It just seems so to me, because everybody they lost their weight again, they're looking fresh again before we eventually end up where we're supposed to go. I just look at a lot of ladies and I see that and I was like, wow, that person had so much weight that look, but I don't want to wait until then to get slim. I want to work now. But I noticed that. So what are some of the complications of obesity?
So we know that obesity is associated with lots of complications, okay? And one of the biggest one is cardiovascular health. When you talk about cardiovascular, we're talking about the heart and the blood vessels associated with it. So we know that can increase things like coronary heart disease, where the blood vessels that supply the heart becomes damaged, becomes blocked. We're talking about things like heart attack, where you're not getting enough blood supply to a section of the heart and that tissue dies off. We're talking about heart failure. So obesity contributes to a lot of that. We're talking about fatty liver diseases, deposited, lots of extra fat is deposited in the liver that can lead to inability for your liver to function. Remember, we talked about liver failure some time ago. That's a risk factor. We talk about things like developing gallstones when you have high cholesterols and stuff, kidney disease. Of course, diabetes type 2, we know that our community is plagued with diabetes. And these are some of the things that we know that. So we know statistically that obesity increases your risk of a premature death from all of these causes, okay? So studies show that you can reduce the risk by even losing a small amount of weight, about 5 to 10% of your current weight. So we often speak about some of those diseases that can lead to lots of health complications. Obesity is one. We spoke about things like diabetes. We often speak about high blood pressure or hypertension. So obesity is associated with lots of other health factors.
Well, we really have to get rid of these girls, the love handles, the muffin tops. Everything has to go. So let us talk about
Go ahead.
Just a second. Why do we call it love handles? What is the love about those?
Well, I think the idea was that your partner could hold on to you tight. Right, Quint? If there is something...
Sounds good.
Remember that culturally, our black men did not enjoy having the really thin ladies. You remember?
Yeah, originally, yes. It's only now we big and obese. We want the slim things. I don't understand, yes?
So you want it to be slim.
Exactly. So what are some of the effects of obesity on our health?
So along with some of those stuff that we mentioned, we know that as you increase your weight, what does it do? Add more stress and strain on your joints, cadentia, things like arthritis, okay? You start having chronic hip pains, chronic joint pains, back pains. Sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is that when you go to sleep, your airway is compromised. I learned recently, and that was so fascinating, that when you gain weight, Quint, follow this, your tongue gains weight as well. I was so flabbergasted when I learned that. So what happens? Yes. So you increase your weight, your tongue, and what happens when you're sleeping, especially on your back, and your tongue relaxes now? It can obstructs or blocks off your airway and you have difficulty. That is what leads to a sleep apnea or snoring. So you have got to lose weight so that your tongue can lose some weight. I did not know that little factor that added weight. And so if you remember that we have the back portion of that tongue, so that weight there, once you start relaxing, it closes off your airway and you have respiratory distress. Sometimes you wake yourself up spontaneously. That is why persons with sleep apnea, they do not get a full night rest. Then they wake up and they're much more exhausted.
Wow, the constant jumps.
So please realize that everywhere in your body seems to gain weight as well too as we get to.
Wow. I see here cancers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of cancers we know that are associated with obesity. Esophageal cancer, that's the cancer of the food pipe or the food tube. We talk about pancreatic cancers. We talk about colorectal cancer. Those are very common cancer. And breast cancer, uterine and ovarian cancer are associated with obesity.
Wow. Oh boy. I see female infertility and pregnancy complications as well.
Of course. Once you are obese, you have much more difficulty to conceive and even at times maintaining and carrying that pregnancy to birth, to fruition, you know. We talk about mental disorder and depression and mood disorders. Wow. All of these are associated with. They even talk about things like memory and your ability to think, forgetfulness. You increase your risk of dementia and things like Alzheimer's. So obesity does have a lot of associated risk factors.
Caller, go ahead. You're live on Weekly Dose. Caller.
Hello.
Good morning. You're live on Weekly Dose. Do you have a question for the doctor?
Yes. Good morning, Doc, and good morning, Queen Catencia.
Good morning.
I'm listening to the program here, and what I'm not hearing, can the doctor tell us about parasites and what parasites cause pertaining to all this ailment that the body is now going through? I think we need to elaborate more on parasites and what harm parasites do with the pancreas and the intestine. So if the doctor can touch on that, I will be happy to hear what you have to say on that.
All right, no problem. Thank you for that question.
Well, the topic of parasites is a completely separate topic to what we are discussing.
Okay.
If the listeners are aware of weekly, we take on a specific topic. That can be a topic that we can discuss in the future, but we know that parasites is associated with lots of health issues. You could have infections, you have chronic gut diseases and stuff, chronic diarrhea, lots of different complications associated with that. I don't think commonly we saw more parasites in the younger children. You were playing outside in the dirt, you get the eggs in your hand, you'll swallow them, the parasites will develop in your system, and you'll expel some of the worms.
Okay.
Yes, those are parasites. There are lots of different types of parasites. I don't think right now in our culture, in our community, it is as big as issue as something like obesity, hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease. Our children don't play outdoors like before.
Just going to see them inside on them tablets.
So we could discuss parasites another day, but the topic at hand right now is that we're talking about obesity.
All right. So tell us how you can diagnose that. I come by you other than seeing my GERD. How do you diagnose this? Yes, because this GERD situation is real for me.
You can do things like, of course, you're going to get the person's BMI. Sometimes the diagnosis is sometimes quite obvious just by looking at the individual.
Yeah.
Of course, you want to measure the abdominal or the waist circumference. You could do things like body density scan, of course, and you want to take a history. The history is not to really say whether they're obese or not, because that can be seen, but you want to say what are the causes of this obesity. You want to get their medical history, if they have any other diseases associated, if they're taking any type of medication, if they have things like hypothyroidism, if they're diabetic, they're taking certain drugs. So you want to get that information, their lifestyle, how much hours they work, how much hours, or do they have any physical activity involved? Do they play any sports? Okay, whether they have a family history of having obesity, what is the weight of their parents or their siblings, are they similar in size? What is your lifestyle like? What are your eating habits? So you want to get a history of that. And remember, we say that it's a complex disease where it is not just physical, it's psychological, it's social. So you want to look at their mental health. So these are ways that you can go about analyzing and sourcing the cause of this obesity, understanding what has led to this obesity for the individual.
Okay. What about the treatment? How is it treated?
Well, once you've analyzed that and you know what is the source of the person's obesity, you want to then to look at how you can make some changes and encourage that individual. Build an activity. We talk about exercising at least 150 minutes throughout the week. At least you want to go for 3 walks weekly. You have to put that in your schedule. You have to make a diet plan. One of the things that we do not realize is how much we eat.
Yeah, boy.
And so persons are being advised to make a diary of their everything that they eat, even if you put a candy in your mouth, because some of the things that we do not realize having quite a lot of calories. All the juices that we consume, you get one of those bottles of juice, it's 250 mLs, and it's supposed to be 2 servings, meaning it's supposed to be split by 2 individuals or 2 separate times, but you drink all of that, and each one of that it has about 300 calories, so you've just consumed 600 calories. Think about that. And the average person needs around 1,700 calories to 2,000 calories per day. So then when you realize it, we have consumed much more calories. So you want to take a true history of what you're consuming. So detail everything you put in your mouth. Sometimes you undergo and you grab that chocolate bar, a Snicker bar, or whatever bar, and that bar is 250 calories, and it's what we call empty calories, because it just give you sugar high and then you're hungry again. So you want to know exactly what you're putting in your mouth. You want to know things like your mental health, if you want to get mental health support, because persons who have post-traumatic stress disorder, persons who are chronically stressed, that can lead to obesity. You want to make sure to talk about options of medication. Everybody keeps talking about this
The
Ozempic. Yes.
I see Serena, she recently came on and spoke about it.
I think she lost about 30 pounds plus.
Plenty,
Yes, she lost quite a lot of weight, and so she has been speaking about that. So persons can be placed on some of these drugs, these injectables or these tablets, if there is a need. And once these are persons that we know, just exercise and telling them to exercise is not enough. Okay. But you got to remember that these drugs are going to be long term, because once you stop using these medications, weight can go back on. So it's a whole mindset we have to take a look at. That's why it has to be psychological. What prompts you to eat? Most of the times we know that we as women, we are emotional eaters.
Yep.
You eat when you're stressed.
Eat with a breakup, with your ice cream.
Yes, and so we do that. So you want to get to the root of what's the reason for that. And so you can use these medications. There's also surgery that can be done for individuals who are morbidly obese, like especially if they're in that class 2 and class 3 of obesity. There are different types of bariatric or gastric surgeries.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Weekly Dose.
Good morning, everyone. Doc, how are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you.
Question. Happy to hear that. God bless. Fasting. I know people go on fasting, but what does that have to do sometimes with what you're talking about? And even not only with reduced weight and with diabetes, but in good health itself. Some person may have half a day for fasting. Some person might have a day in itself for fasting. Let's say persons who are 7 Adventist might say, okay, I'm going to fast half of the day, and that Friday also I will do a light eating, maybe fruit and vegetables and water and stuff like that. How would that play into what you're talking and in good health in general?
Okay, all right. So the caller is talking about fasting and how does the role it plays in overall wellness. It is being studied and continuously that we're talking about now this intermittent fasting. One of the things that we all do know that we just said we consume much more calories than we actually need. The importance of fasting, it means that you give your body a rest and you give your stomach a rest, and it is important to do that. And then what happens, your body then can use the stored fat, right, and burn that fat for energy source. All right? Because once we consume something, your body uses what it needs right now for energy, and the rest is stored. It is deposited in your cells, it is deposited in your liver, and that is where that energy is stored. Once you're in fasting mode, okay, your body then, what happens? Then retrieve those fats, those calories, break them down, and use them for energy. All right? So that is where fasting can come into play. There is some proponents and opponents of fasting, because they also speak about if you fast too long, your body goes into a fast, that deprivation mode. So you try to hold on to much more fat cells and much more fat, because so then your metabolism drops off. But it is important to understand, yes, periods of fasting is actually good. If you're religious, it makes you improve your clarity and your focus on your prayers. But for health, you give your body a rest, and then your body can use that stored fat and you burn it as energy. Okay?
Yeah, that's good. But as you said, don't overdo the do now. So let's talk about how obesity can be prevented overall.
How obesity can be prevented. Okay, just with habits, lifestyle habit. Make some small changes. Instead of grabbing that chocolate bar, try grabbing an apple. It has to be something that we practice and we exercise. We speak about weight loss starting in the supermarket, in your shopping cart. The minute you start buying something, it's what's going to end up in your house, what's going to end up in your tummy. So think about it like that. Resist going down that snack aisle. And it happens to me all the time. Oh, I feel like something sweet. You feel like something. But you have to control that craving and walk away. Step away from that snack aisle and go over to the produce where you can get probably a few grapes, get some apples and stuff, because all of these snacks are processed stuff. They're loaded with sugars, they're loaded with all these processed flours and stuff, these cookies, the biscuits, these chocolates that we love. And so you want to step away from that. And so you want to cultivate an overall wellness, making sure that you prepare your meals. One of the biggest problems with us, and it happens to most of us, we do not have the time to sit and make a proper meal, so we grab what's near to the hand. And typically what is easy is that fast food, so you stop and grab something quick, and or bread, and we know all of the problems that come with consuming all of these white and processed flours. So you're grabbing a burger, you're grabbing some fries, and we do not take time to do a meal prep. So one of the things that we can do, especially on the weekends, you prep your meal. If you're going to cut up your carrots, you're going to cut up your onions, peppers, whatever, and you parcel them out. So it makes it easier throughout the week to do that. And it is something that we all have to create that habit of, because if you start thinking about your meal only when you're hungry, that's when you're going to grab whatever is closest, and it's typically something that is not healthy. And so you want to add physical activities. Get a friend to go with you. I've been walking with a girlfriend of mine, one of my good friends from since high school. So we walk at afternoon. So you go on the golf course, you try and do some exercise. Whatever you can to keep you. I actually bought a set of weights as well.
Nice.
Quinta got 5 kilograms, and I've been doing my curls and my thing at mornings, and it takes a lot of discipline. Not every morning I'm going to be doing it well, but it's something that you've got to put a part of your plan. Once you've hit the age of 40 and above, we start losing muscle mass, and you have to keep that muscle tone because it's important. Much more muscles, when you have much healthier muscles, it is easier to burn that extra fat. So it's very important to weight lift. So we want to be encouraged to do that, to exercise, to walk. And I'm finding a lot of information where walking is much more beneficial than running. So people, I'm not asking you to be an athlete. You don't need to run a marathon. You just need to walk for 45 minutes and a brisk walk, and that's going to be very helpful. So these are some of the things. And get a buddy involved. Get an accountability partner. When somebody's calling you, you really hope they wouldn't call you the morning to get up. So you're exactly. And when they call you, you know you have to go. So it's an accountability partner. So it's very important. We have got to get that 46.6% down of obesity that we have in this small community.
It's not too far from 50 at all, and we don't want that in our little federation.
No. Yeah, so it's very important. Quint, any comments?
Well, as you were speaking, I was thinking, and I've spoken to Hortensia about that. When I've been walking all my life, and when I walk about, I see a lot of children, and most of them seem to be obese.
Yeah, and we didn't have that. Do you remember that? We were slim kids. We spoke about that this morning. We were slim kids, but the good things are not cheap, and the cheap things are good. So I guess the parents, according to their pocket, they have to make the choice. But I asked them this morning.
I challenge you on that, Hortensia.
For real? Okay.
I challenge you on that. Because when you go in and you buy that packet of chips or whatever, it's $9, $10, $11. What happened to getting some carrots and make carrot sticks with a little bit of dip or something like that? But nobody wants to take the time to do that. A lot of times we're looking the easy way out. So the mother, what happens, and it happens to all of us, but this is an example. School is back on now. So she gets up late and she's running around, she has things to do. She's not going to take time to prepare an egg sandwich and prepare some foods. What she's going to do, grab a quick donut or something. Oh, here, grab that. Grab a juice from the refrigerator, these little packet juice that we give to our children that are high in sugars, and you take them, run them to the door, get them into the car and get them to school. And that is the cycle that we're in. So it's not necessarily that it's cheaper, because when you go to your local market, you can get your fruits and vegetables cheaper. Your sweet potatoes, your carrots, your onions, those things, your cabbage. But we don't want to take the time to dice up the cabbage and make that coleslaw.
Yeah. We have a final caller. Hello, caller.
Oh, boy. All right. Caller, go ahead. You're live on Weekly
It's more in line of a validation.
Okay.
Is it possible that, yes, you avoid the chocolates and the sweet biscuits and those things that are supposedly bad for you, rather than avoid them altogether, you just use them in judicious quantities. Like, for instance, you're not going to eat a whole chocolate bar right away. You might take a peg up. Is that okay?
Speak for yourself, sir.
No, I'm serious. Because
Mr. McMahon, who doesn't eat a whole chocolate bar? I can't sit here and lie.
I do.
Look at me.
No, I do.
But you have control, and you're nice and slim.
Right. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm trying to get from the doctor.
Oh.
But it isn't what you eat, but how much of it. You can be judicious. Because, you see, I don't know, doing things like that satisfies some kind of urge or release, what you call those things, endorphins or something?
Yeah.
That make it feel good, right? As opposed to not using them, you can have all kind of withdrawal stuff, right? So is it okay, do you think?
Okay, I like that. But it's really going to be individually centered, okay? Because you know what works for you, Hortensia. I remember talking to a nurse, and this is a story she and I got to talking years ago, and we were just chit-chatting in the operating room, and she said she had a cake, and she had to give it away, because every time she thinks about the cake, she goes at it. And some of us are like that. Remember, we're emotional eaters, so the mere fact that you know those cookies are there, you don't stop thinking about those cookies until you get at them. Let's talk fact. That's why I recommend that you start in the supermarket. If you don't have those cookies, you don't have to think about them. There are some individuals, like this gentleman, the caller, if he is disciplined and you can just divide that Snicker bar into 12 pieces and take a piece a day, I applaud you. But most of us not going to be. Because, too, the sugar is addictive.
Yeah, it is.
We all do not. Yes. And it is set up like that, so we become addicted to it, and we crave more. You remember when you have that bag of chip? If you sit with the whole bag of chip, you never stop dipping.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful. Not all of us can be that disciplined. So if you want to treat yourself, we're not saying eliminate, because we don't want to go to any extreme. Instead of buying the big bag of the corn chips that you love, buy a smaller packet, so you know once that's done, you're done with it.
Yeah. And don't overstock.
And increase your physical activity. We have got to get moving, okay? It helps so much. So I want to wish everybody a beautiful day today, and be kind to each other, and have a wonderful day, everyone.
Yeah, be kind to your GERD. Remember, it's getting big. All of ours. We got to work on it.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Don't throw those bottles away. Turn them into money today. Vitamalt bottles equal cash in your pocket. It's super easy. Just take those empty Vitamalt bottles to any Cara Brewery distribution truck or any drinks depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're keeping our beautiful Twin Island paradise clean. Vitamalt bottles equal cash back. Keep it clean, keep it green. Vitamalt bottle returns. Your bottles, your cash, your island.
Got itchy palms? That's a sign. Money could be coming your way with Scratch and Win from Caribbean Lottery. It's the easiest way to win instantly. No waiting, no fuss. With tickets starting from just $2 up to $20. Win over $35 million in prizes. The higher the price, the bigger the prize. So scratch today for your chance to win up to $200,000. Available at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
Back to school is here, and Digicel is making it extra exciting. Go back to school in style with a brand new laptop. All you have to do is activate a 3-day Prime bundle or higher. Switch to Digicel or sign up for a postpaid plan, and you could be one of 2 lucky winners. At Digicel, we're all about keeping you connected. So what are you waiting for? Get ready, get connected, and go back to school the Digicel way. Digicel, better connected for back to school.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running September 4th to September 17th.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tag specials. General Mills cereals, $17.99. Pearl Mill pancake syrup, just $13.99. Essential Everyday pasta sauce, $9.99 each. Nestle Splash, $14.99. Essential Everyday mac and cheese deluxe, $8.79. Storage ice cream, just $17.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. Essential Everyday pasta, $4.99. Essential Everyday cranberry juice, $9.99. Almond Breeze, almond milk, $17.99. The Colgate toothpaste, $6.99. Almond Hammer deodorant, $8.99. Pearl Mill pancake mix, $11.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart.
Got itchy palms? That's a sign. Money could be coming your way with Scratch and Win from Caribbean Lottery. It's the easiest way to win instantly. No waiting, no fuss. With tickets starting from just $2 up to $20. Win over $35 million in prizes. The higher the price, the bigger the prize. So scratch today for your chance to win up to $200,000. Available at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play.
It's the 27th Prime Minister's Lecture Series under the theme Perpetual Progress, A Sustainable Future in View, Independence 42. Join us on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at the Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank at 7 p.m. sharp. Come out to witness an inspiring address by your proud daughter of the soil, Miss Willa Liber Tavernier, scholarly communication librarian and attorney at law. An evening of thought, vision, and national purpose awaits. One stage, one voice, one vision for our nation's future. It's the 27th Prime Minister's Lecture Series for Independence 42. All are invited to be part of history in motion.
And that's why we have to put aside foolish minds and remember me say, one love, one federation. God bless my little nations, and you know that it would have been impossible, yeah.
Back to school is here at Harper's. Yes, Harper's, it's where it's at with the widest selection of school and art supplies for all schoolgoers, from the tiniest preschooler to the big cool college students. Plus, everyone can enjoy a 10% discount and a chance to spin the wheel and enter our grand draw in September. And the bonus is, our friendly team is looking forward to welcoming you again and again and again. For more information, call us at 466-6500.
Yeah, we got that.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
When can I open my eyes?
Not yet. Okay, open. Do you see what I see?
It just looks like land to me.
It's our land, son. A wise investment that will grow with you.
Invest in land with CIBC Caribbean and we'll give you US $250 towards your valuation cost and 50% off your loan application fee. With CIBC Caribbean Land Financing, you can choose to build, hold, or pass on to your children. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com to learn more. Conditions apply.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And welcome back to Island Tea. The time is approximately 17 minutes moving away from the 9 o'clock hour. And Hortensia had to step away, so she won't be in for the rest of the morning, but she'll be back with us tomorrow, the Almighty Creator allowing such. Well, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to open the phone lines, and if there's anything you feel needs ventilating, then feel free to call in and do so. The numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989, and in the UK the number is 033-344-0065. In the US of A, 718-285-6984, and in Canada 305-921-4619. Good day to you. Oh, sorry, caller. I accidentally, instead of putting you live, I accidentally cut you off. So my apologies. Feel free to call back. Hello. Good day.
Good morning, Quinn.
Yes. Good day.
Good morning to you and all the listeners, and greetings once more in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like to say that the people who are in contention with the government concerning the land and Priors Bay, I think they should also be approached and asked, what do they have to say in reply to what the Attorney General said? And hear what they also have to say as well concerning what the Attorney General said. I think that would be a very good thing to do. Another issue I would like to just remind everybody, Jesus is the focus of and center of every day, as he made every day, and that includes Independence Day. Think it's Independence or anything else is the center of any day, including Independence Day. Jesus is the center of every day and focus of every day. And everything's supposed to be held in that context of Jesus Christ being the focus and center of every day, including Independence Day. Now, and lastly, another issue. The U.S. bombing of the boat around the Venezuela area. Now, I think that was very wrong, and that was the U.S. murdering those people. That is what I think. And let me say Trump. I think what Trump did was wrong, and what Trump did was murdering those people. Because I prefer to use personal name rather than to make it this sort of impersonal thing. Yes, Trump was very wrong. But the thing is that the Prime Minister, Mrs. Poussard, agreed with Trump and backed Trump immediately and praised him for doing it. I think that she is wrong as well. And they have not even given any proof that the people was smuggling drugs. And even if there was smuggling drugs, the right thing, well, let me not say the right thing, because I believe in the legalization of all drugs. But at the very least, they could have stopped the boat and searched it. And it is even argued with that size boat to have 11 people in it, would make it doubtful that there was carrying drugs, because you need as much space as possible. And those 11 people would have been, it is believed, at least by one person forward, might have been taking up too much space if it was a drug thing.
Well, there's that. Do you have on any? Okay, I was hearing a bit of a feedback. Well, a lot of people, as a matter of fact, the majority of individuals feel that if you wanted to assert that drugs was being run, then you should have captured those people or imprisoned those people so that they could go through a due process. But the fact that you just eliminated them, well, that is the way the United States and the established world has been doing things. Whenever they want to have their own way, they just come up with things, don't really have any real proof, and execute.
Yeah, and that is very sad. And Trump did a wicked, evil thing with that. Remember, no, they got warships in there, said they wanted to stop the boat, they could have stopped it.
Yeah. I don't think, they're not fooling anyone. They're not fooling anyone. It is quite...
The fool Assad, the PM of Trinidad, because she back it up.
Well, I hope she realized that if for whatever reason, whenever the United States has a problem with Trinidad and Tobago or whomever, that they'll treat them the very same way. They are not respecters. Okay. They are not respecters of persons, especially when you are not of their own pigmentation, their own ethnicity. So, I hope that she keeps that in mind.
Okay, and another thing, as you mentioned, the USA no respect a person. I hope Guyana don't foolishly think that the US is down there to protect the island. The US is down there to see what they could get. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. And recently I heard in our news where our Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Drew, was speaking about embracing what is happening on the motherland, Africa. I actually saw a conference where himself and other Caribbean leaders, including Mayor Motley and some African leaders, were in a forum. And I felt that should be commended, because this is what the Caribbean and its leaders should be doing. The Caribbean leaders should be biding their time, being diplomatic, and watching and seeing how Africa unfolds and how Africa becomes more in control of their own wealth, and where the part they intend to go along. Because it is only when Africa reaches true autonomy that we who are dispersed, black people who are dispersed anywhere in the world other than Africa, will really have true merit. So I must commend that initiative and hope that they think more along that vein, as opposed to thinking about having scopes of land that will be coming and that foreign investors will be coming, and they will be empowering themselves, and we will be becoming more and more subservient. I think that the Caribbean leaders should be leading more towards what is happening on the mother colony, on Mother Africa, sorry. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Quint.
Good day.
Quint, reciprocity, it's on the rise. And the walls are closing in on America and Europe right now. Quint, does the name Phil Craig mean anything to you?
No.
Okay. Phil Craig is a British national living in South Africa. And he's proposing to go to Donald Trump to ask Donald Trump to divide South Africa into two countries. Quint, what I would like to share with our African brothers and sisters. We have South Africa, we have Zimbabwe. Now, let us look at how Europeans have acquired land in South Africa. When they came into South Africa, Quint, they get on horses and they rode the horse from point A to point B. And when the horse was exhausted, they paused, and when the horse revived, they went again and they acquired land in South Africa. Bill Craig today is political activist, and he's proposing to go to Trump to divide South Africa into two countries.
Look, when we hear these people with their far-fetched concepts, look, it is one thing for them to feel whatever they want to feel, but the trajectory that Africa is on right now, no external force is going to impede it. So people can have their own concepts and they can think about going to Trump or whomever, but it's not going to work. They can think about going to Trump or whomever, but it's not going to work. Not ahead.
Because you see, my words are vibrating with the source that is going to bring the change that we need. I'm speaking to our African brothers and sisters, Queen. Because you see, now, remember, I said the walls are closing in, not just in America alone. And I said reciprocity. Because you see, we have to ask ourselves these questions, and we are complicit because we are going along to get along.
Are you aware?
What gives them the right?
Are you aware? I think I'm not too firm on it, but are you aware of what is happening in France? What has happened in France recently?
Yes. There's a lot of protests, Quint. And you see, now, in as much as all that is going on, I refer to Emmanuel Macron as a roaring lion, a wounded roaring lion. Trump also. They are wounded right now, Quint, and they are trying to devour as much as they can. I want our people to realize what is in the book is at us. These are narcissists, Quint, and they're telling us if they can't have, they won't allow us to be. And when they give us their theology in a book and we swallowed wholesale, they are the roaring lions right now. And they're trying to take down as much as they can with them. They are on their way, Quint. They are so on their way. Because when they said, let this sin be upon our generation and generation unborn, we gave them time to validate themselves, Quint, but they chose not to. And they put it into their literature, which is psychology on us. I listened to the sister that called in from Connecticut this morning, Quint, and she's quoting scriptures, and your last caller. But this is our reality, Quint. And only we can save ourselves. They can save themselves, Quint, because you see what their ancestors put in place. Their ancestors have placed something that have failed them, and they have not. I'm referring to Europeans, Quint. Europeans and Americans. They are a virus on this earth. Let me repeat this, Quint. They are a virus on the planet.
Well,
and
it has
until
not.
they recognize this.
It has not really failed them, It has worked for them for over 200 years, but it is now beginning to fail, because the rest of the world have been able to see them in their element, and to see, like you said, when they had options to change for the better, they choose not to. For instance, they had the option of making sure after they reach a certain level of advancement that they sit down with African leaders and say, look, we've reached this level, and now here's what we're going to do. We're going to offer you fair prices for your gold, for your mineral, for your whatever. No, they choose to continue to, as the old people would say, dig you in the eye or dig you in a raw sore, and think that you're not going to at some point wake up.
And Quint, I've mentioned already, and I'm going to repeat it quickly and say this. In their literature, in the book that we gravitated to, Quint, they gave us a story of two brothers, Jacob and Esau. One gave up the birthright, and one inherited the blessing. Look at Europe and America today, Quint. They are exploiting our blessing, our resources on the continent. And they put that in a book, in a story, And we are not seeing where this is our reality. Quinta, let others comment on this.
Okay. The time is now 9:32. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 # or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running September 4th to September 17th.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tag specials. General Mills cereals, $17.99. Pearl Mill pancake syrup, just $13.99. Essential Everyday Pasta Sauce, $9.99 each. Nestle Splash, $14.99. Essential Everyday Mac and Cheese Deluxe, $8.79. Storage ice cream, just $17.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. Essential everyday pasta, $4.99. Essential everyday cranberry juice, $9.99. Almond braise, almond milk, $17.99. The Colgate toothpaste, $6.99. Almond hammer deodorant, $8.99. Pearl Mill pancake mix, $11.99. Shop smart, shop value mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
Back to school is here at Harper's. Yes, Harper's, it's where it's at with the widest selection of school and art supplies for all schoolgoers, from the tiniest preschooler to the big cool college students. Plus, everyone can enjoy a 10% discount and a chance to spin the wheel and enter our grand draw in September. And the bonus is, our friendly team is looking forward to welcoming you again and again and again. For more information, call us at 466-6500.
Yeah, we got that.
Back to school is here, and Digicel is making it extra exciting. Go back to school in style with a brand new laptop. All you have to do is activate a 3-day Prime bundle or higher. Switch to Digicel or sign up for a postpaid plan, and you could be one of 2 lucky winners. At Digicel, we're all about keeping you connected. So what are you waiting for? Get ready, get connected, and go back to school the Digicel way. Digicel, better connected for back to school.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And I'm back with you, and let me go straight to the phone lines. Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning, Quint.
Good day to you.
And good morning to Hortensia's in the studio with you this morning?
No, she stepped out. She was here earlier, but she stepped out, had some other, stuff to do.
Okay. Listen, first of all, I just want to put a plug in for my program tomorrow. I'll be gracing the presence of the studio, the 4 walls of the studio tomorrow. with my the second Wednesday in the month program. And yes, we look forward to having a discussion. That said, I listened to a talk show program on another radio station where the guest was our Attorney General, Garth Wilkins. And from all indications, whenever a high-profile minister or representative of the government grace his or her presence in the studio, I always deemed it as damage control. Yeah, because you don't normally hear them, and it's only when something really touches the nerves of the government they see fit, or I may not go out on that limb. Sometimes they might be invited by the radio to come and clear the air on matters, pertinent matters that has to do with the nation. So it doesn't always be on their behalf, but it would be sometimes on the behalf of the general public who has more questions than answers. And I listened to Mr. Garth Wilkins, and for the life of me, Mr. Garth Wilkins has not changed his attitude. I think Mr. Garth Wilkins' attitude was very obnoxious in the way he would have responded to questions that might have posed to him. If it's anything I took away from that interview, especially like in the case of those on the beaches at Friars Bay, like the shipwreck on the Godfather, the Discovery, those beach bars. And it was tantamount to like, okay, so what shall we do? Okay, there's an expiry date, and the persons have not gone around to really get a potential relocation spot. That is in the process, and then the expiry date comes and, okay, the expiry date has already elapsed. What shall we do?
Well, let me ask you, let me interject and let me ask you, because I didn't listen to the, whatever it was that the Attorney General was on, but I heard excerpts, bits and pieces on our news here at winnfm 98.9. But let me address the points that he made in relation to you were over an extended period told you were not unaware of what would happen. You were told what would eventually happen, and you were given options. So how do you address that? Because it does not seem to me like the options given were taken unless by the one individual who wanted to be two places. So how do you address the fact that, as the Attorney General stated, this was an extended period of being told you were not to be in this area?
It came down to the response that he gave. Because remember I said his attitude was very obnoxious. And it came down, I'm solely basing on how he responded to it. As to, I may not be present there at a certain time of the day by my business, and it would tantamount to, okay, well, when you come, you're not going to find your material. They're going to be taken up, just like that.
But don't you think that they were given a long enough period? I'm not interested really too much in his attitude, whether it was arrogant or not. I'm specifically looking at the points he made and whether they are just or unjust. Don't you think that these individuals were given ample time to move?
I don't believe in beach bars, authentic beach bars, being asked to move from their land, period.
But as he said,
duration elapsed, first of all, I believe that the beach bars can coexist with whatever potential development is on the stream. And I'm not against potential development. I'm in that industry. I'm all for it. I am saying creative minds have come up with ways and means to create an authentic experience on St. Kitts and Nevis. The government that we should see fit to really mesh, create a balance where both can coexist. That's my take on it. As to what the time duration and the elapse of the time, that is not where I'm going, because that would be secondary.
But it can't be.
These guys
but
negotiating with hoteliers should always think about the authenticity of the island and not to sanitize the authenticity of the island.
But Africa, I hear you, but here's the rub. The thing is, I'm going on what he stated. He said the Ritz-Carlton now owns the vicinity where these individuals are, and the Ritz-Carlton want to do development there. If an entity who owns a land wants to do whatever they want to do on a particular piece of land, they have the right to do so. I feel that
I agree.
Wait,
those guys are located, situated, they're not on the Ritz-Carlton. I doubt where the periphery of the beach is and the water line and all of that. I visit the area and I see where those guys are.
But hear what he said in terms of that. He said, on the beach, which would be Crown land, because the beach would be owned by the government and not some private entity. He said, on the beach, the government decided not to give any license to be there because you would have to go through whatever procedure. And furthermore, he also stated that the beach was for what he said, for public use and not private business ventures. So I'm going on what he said.
I agree. You're going on what he said. But what he said is foolhardy, because Discovery Beach Bar, if I had was to ask the owner of the Discovery Beach Bar, or the owner of the Shipwreck Beach Bar, or the owner of Godfather, they just did not go there yesterday and set up shop. And I want to think that just like how I pay my dues through Inland Revenue, they would have had similar arrangements. So it's not that the government don't know that they're there, and it's not that they doesn't renew their permit to be there and to be doing business, because they know that they're there.
Africa, again.
And here is it where the government should come in on behalf of the local authentic beach persons who establish these things and negotiate on the behalf of when they go to do business with foreign entities in order to allow these people to coexist there. Because his point is that, all right, they're not on the people's properties. They are on the beach, and they ain't supposed to be on the beach because this is government purview, but yet you grant them licenses on an annual basis to be there. And so those people will be entitled to other rights because they have something what you call squatters' rights and all these things there.
Africa.
I guarantee you those guys didn't go there yesterday and set up shop.
Africa, I listened to the clips that I heard in relation to the Attorney General. He said that where there was an agreement that people who were on private lands were paying to the private owner monies for a given period they did not pay. I'm going again on what he said. So it would have to be other individuals coming out and refuting what he said. But on the merit of what he said these individuals, yes, they were there for a long period, but they were supposed to be paying, and over a given period they did not pay. And so when these individuals or the owner who now wants to do the Ritz-Carlton development comes and says, well, okay, we want you off of the land, government can't go and tell a private owner what to do with their private land. The beach now is a whole the beach now is a whole different thing. So people, this is why I often say people have got to listen to what is said, and if what is said you are in a disagreement with it, then come out and let your voice be heard. Do not sit back, let certain things be said, and you don't address them, because if you don't address them, we would logically assume that the things said are factual. So the only addressing would have to be whether or not the Crown Lands, which is the beach, whether or not individuals can go there and ply their trade. I know as far as I am aware, that on certain beaches, local individuals have been able to go there and ply their trade. I am not aware of the procedures they take to be there, so maybe that is the question. But I'm saying for individuals who are affected by these things, they need to come and express. The Attorney General has expressed one point, and from my vantage point, from what he says, I'm going to put aside the arrogance because, yes, he tends to talk down to people, but that is beside the point. The point is what he said factual or is it not factual? From my vantage point, it has merit until others come and refute what he says.
Agree. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So let me touch on one last two things. The same, basically along the same line with Reginald Francis down at New Guinea. I think that there should be another location where those guys want to come in and put in the containers and everything and allow the man to thrive. All of the work that has went into the fruition of what has become there. And bearing in mind we are in a cluster of Caribbean islands in the north where that services is required, it's in high demand. I don't see no disruption, no sanitization to allow that to happen. Also, a point that Mr. McMahon made about the beach, I agree with Mr. McMahon. I want to fast forward into something that has been alleged.
Before you go there, I want to, from what I heard, I think it was Cortensia who read a bit of an article. Don't know where that feedback is coming from. It was Cortensia who read a bit of an article that suggested, I am not too sure, that suggested that the Attorney General said in that New Guinea area, the government has no intention of doing anything there. Again, that would have to be refuted or otherwise. I'm aware of that letter that it is alleged, because I haven't seen it myself, this alleged letter in which he said that if the individual did not detract or did not do something that he would have to vacate. But since that, I have heard that, I think it was Cortensia read an article that said the Attorney General said the government had no intention of doing anything in that proximity.
Yes. So the allegation, it has been alleged that, and I know that other nations are going that route. The Trump administration has campaigned on sanitizing the American public under the pretext of would-be criminals, persons who are incarcerated, persons who would have overstayed their visa, and the likes. But Donald Trump and his administration is reaching out to nations to asking nations if they can actually take convicts, persons who are incarcerated for a duration of time. And some nations are accepting it. Now, it has been alleged that our government, the Joe administration, it has been alleged that they are thinking about accepting some of these convicts who are incarcerated in the United States.
Well, I'm glad you chose to use the word "it has been alleged." But let me venture to say that any country that accepts this agreement will be a foolhardy endeavor. It is something that is absolutely stupid to do, because why would you, for whatever financial thing that they might offer you, why would you embrace taking criminals from one place and bringing it into your proximity, especially if this alleged statement has any truth or merit to it? We know the problems we have with crime and so forth. It has been abating recently. So what do we want to see an escalation in that? Because when we embrace or bring in criminals from external, remember their brains and their way of doing things is way advanced to us, you know. So this isn't our little 2x4 little criminals trying a thing. These are hardened individuals. So I would not want to believe that this is a factual thing. I don't embrace everything I hear. It could be true, but I would think that that would be one of the most stupid things to do. But anyway, before you make another comment, there's a caller who has been waiting, so hold there and let me hear from the other caller. Hello, caller?
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
I think Africa is right. He hit the nail on the head when he said that government really should be taking the side of the local persons who ply their trade on the beach. Because, you see, it's one thing to have this great development. Everybody wants it, okay? But it should not be at the expense of locals. And what the Attorney General seemed to, well, he gave the impression that he didn't understand where I was coming from when I said that the government using the regulatory bodies like the Development Control and Planning Board and so on, that they have to approve whatever goes there. And so the government has leverage, and the government can negotiate something with the developers to accommodate, it's not a lot of them, it's no mass of them, to accommodate those who have been there for so long, whether in terms of giving them concessions or to some beachfront bar or something.
Mr.
That
McMahon.
I'm sure will be part of, yeah.
Mr. McMahon, I hear what you're saying, but see, I'm going on this. Let's exclude private lands or anything to do with let's exclude private lands or anything to do with the Ritz-Carlton, because you and I and Africa would be aware that even though the government might want to say, well, you know, their business in Frigate Bay and their business in Frigate Bay, and they were asked, well, why do you still have your business over there and here? And the person says,
because all that seems to be happening here, it's Ritz-Carlton, and the concern, I think, is that you're going to have this fancy hotel and a shack. I don't agree that shipwreck should remain how it is, right? But what I'm saying is, and that's what I mean by integrated in corporate.
Mahan, that would still be left to the discretion of the private owner.
And I'm saying that the government should be on the side of the locals in negotiating with the owner, explaining the history, because maybe the owner feel these people with their old shacks and plywood and so on, they're on the beach. He can't have that. But he doesn't know the history. And I am sure, I am positive that something could be done that can be amenable to both sides.
When it comes to the beach,
okay, that's what I'm saying.
When it
I don't think. You see, I'll tell you something else, right? I mean, you kind of dismiss it, but I don't think you should dismiss it either. That the Attorney General, yes, he may be arrogant and so on, but that is not the point. That is part of the point. Because, you see?
To me, that is not. Here's where I stand. To me, someone can come and be obnoxious and whatever. For instance, if you come I'm in the studio right now, I'm sitting down. If you come by the door of the studio and you start swearing and going on with all kind of stuff and so forth, it may offend me. But as long as you don't reach the point where you touch me or, invade my immediate space, I think I'm mature enough. I might look at you and say, look, just make sure you don't come too close where, I feel uncomfortable. So that is what I'm saying. Whether he whether he speaks down to people or not, it may be obnoxious, but what to me is of relevance is the land dispute, not his attitude or his tone.
No, Quinn. No, you have. I think you have it wrong. You have to remember, he is a public figure paid by taxpayers. Basically,
I agree. I didn't say. Look, I did not say.
So what I'm saying.
I did not say, Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon.
We make noise about customer service in the lower ranks. So you want to tell me that we should not pay attention to it,
Mr. McMahon?
Of the higher
Mr. McMahon, did I at any time during my speech say I condone or agree with what he did?
No.
No.
You didn't.
I am saying that is not the point. The point is, I agree with you, he's a public servant, and if he does not know that he should use tact and decorum whenever he's expressing himself, that is for him. The people will then deal with him as they feel he is entitled to be dealt with. But that is beside
but the people, but at the same time, well, put it this way. Somebody should pull him aside and give him some advice on how to deal with the public.
Don't you think he has been getting advice? This has been going on so long.
Exactly,
this has been
and he's been wearing it,
but here,
like
Mr.
a badge on his sleeve.
But Mr. McMahon, you realize what we are doing right now? You and I are getting sidetracked by the attitude of the Attorney General as opposed to the facts relating to the individuals, whether on the beach or on private land. I do not want to get sidetracked with his attitude. I want to deal with, when it comes to the beach, here's where I will agree with you. When it comes to the beach, like I said before, I am aware that on certain beaches, locals are given the option, the ability, the scope to vend their trade. I do not know why this is not happening or it should not happen within this area. This is where I will lean towards you, and this is where the government should accommodate the locals. But when it comes to the private aspect of it, I will have to lean towards what the Attorney General said until someone comes and say otherwise.
So tell me something. You're saying there is no connection between how the Attorney General puts these things over and government policy? Because you see, government can have a mindset to be on one side or the other. What the law eventually allows is another thing altogether. But certainly in terms of how government approaches a dispute like this, I am expecting that the government should be on the side of the locals, not the developers.
To the extent...
The developers have all kind of smart lawyers and
Mr. McMahon,
to negotiate
Mr.
for them.
McMahon and Africa, I agree with you that the government should be trying its best to accommodate its citizens. But here's where I differ from you. I am saying that when it comes to private ownership, the government can only do so much. But when it comes to crown land, I agree with you wholeheartedly. They should try and accommodate the people. Here, let me make this point now. Here's why the Attorney General's tone is of no real consequence to me, even though I might not like it. If you are guilty or assessed to be guilty of a charge, you go to court. The jury has made its decision. The jury says that you are going to be free, or the jury says you're going to be imprisoned. The judge comes and he's going to give you your term of imprisonment. Whether the judge gets up and shouts it at you and says, Quint, you're going to be given 100 years and you're a dog or whatever, that is of no consequence. The point is how much years I'm going to get. If he says it angry or he says it's mild, Quince, you're going to be you're a dog and you're going to be given 3 years. What he says and his tone is of no relevance. What is of importance is the sentence, and that is what I'm saying.
I understand where you're coming from with that, but my point is there is still a connection between the two, because how the kind of arrogance and so on that displays, the fact that he has it like some badge of honor on his sleeve, it suggests a mindset.
I will agree.
That affects the overall settlement of the dispute. Can you say, for instance, Quinn, that government has no leverage with the developers when it comes to this?
I can't say, but it's still, like I've said before, and I'll reiterate, it still comes down to the development making the developers making the final decision. Because remember what we're looking at.
That's not looking at the fact that government ultimately has to approve whatever goes there. The government can have, the developers can have all the land they want there, okay? But until the government approves what goes there, how it goes there, all those kinds of details, nothing can happen.
I agree, but
and I'm saying that is leverage, and I'm saying that the locals, few of them, can be accommodated in the design of whatever the developers have. Because you see,
yes, Mr. McMahon,
they're trying. I think they're trying to just exclude. They want to be an exclusive resort, but why do you have to exclude the locals?
Mr. McMahon, let's be real here. The Ritz-Carlton, if it comes to fruition, is a completely different thing to what's proposed or what we imagine would happen on Nevis. So far, on the Nevis aspect, we don't know. Because we don't know who the developers are, what they will do. All we hear,
okay.
But with the Ritz-Carlton, with the Ritz-Carlton, we have an idea of what that would be. Governments get into power because governments want to provide jobs. You look at Marriott, you look at that veterinary Ross University and certain other places that have brought capital and have added to our GDP. The Ritz-Carlton is likely to do the same. Government
Absolutely.
is not. So government
and
the fact that the government see the potential of this, the government is going to try its best to accommodate this because the governments perceive 400, 200, how much ever jobs and so on and so forth. And
but that does not mean, Quint, that you give the developer carte blanche to do everything that he wants. That's what I'm saying. It's a negotiation. You're not dictating, but you're negotiating. Because you can, Quint, I can bet you, right, if the tourists that go to that Ritz-Carlton see something on that beach that is different to the luxury thing inside where you have to wear your tux and them kind of thing, I can bet your life, bet you that the tourists would like that.
But
I can bet you.
But Mr.
So it would be an asset. It would be an
But
asset.
Mr. McMahon, you and I are on two different veins because you're still saying the beach. I am saying the beach is in the scope of the government. The government has leeway to do whatever, and the government could negotiate with the developer of Ritz-Carlton and say, look, I want my locals in this vicinity, but I want the aesthetics to fit with what you're going to put down there. But what I am saying is when it comes to the Ritz-Carlton property that they own, the government can only negotiate so far. If the Ritz-Carlton decide that this is what I'm going to do, this is what it comes down to. So I am speaking different. I'm speaking different to what the Ritz-Carlton own privately and what the government owns by way of crown lands. So that's two different things.
Okay, I understand that.
Okay.
I wondered though, right, where the access to the beach would be, because you see that might be part of the problem. Eh?
Well, that is a
where
serious
exactly
problem.
The boundary.
So now you're
where
talking.
Exactly is the boundary of the property?
So
because,
now,
like I said, when you look at, I mean, you know, shipwreck,
yes.
for instance. Shipwreck is right on the beach. I mean, to me, the property that it would have taken up from the developers is where the parking is, I would imagine, and they have some generators or something close by, right? I would imagine that's what they're talking about, because the shack is right on the beach.
So now, Mr. McMahon, you're speaking what I can agree with you on. The question then becomes, where does the Ritz-Carlton property end, and what scope, I'm trying to look for the word. When it comes to the beach, will they have access to the beach exclusive of the local individual? Those are the questions, valid questions for us to ask. So I agree with you as to...
No, that's against it. How you mean have access to the beach excluding local individuals?
That
can't happen.
But
there must be access to the beach.
I agree, but that is what I'm saying, because now that you've brought up the question of where does their boundary end, and where does the beach property begin, and where the locals will have access to, along with the Ritz-Carlton people and so forth, this is the question that we should be arguing. I agree with you on that.
Right, but you're also saying that when it comes to things like these, the government, it seems, should be bending over backwards to accommodate the Ritz-Carlton without looking after local interests. That's how it's coming over.
No, you've gone back onto the private land. I am saying the point that you just made, where does the Ritz-Carlton property end? From that point where the Ritz-Carlton property ends, I would assume the Crown lands begin. Anywhere from that point within that vicinity that is Crown lands, this is where the government should then bend over to accommodate its locals.
Okay. I
can't understand.
What you're saying. But even there, right? Because, like I said, I am not in favor of no shacks, no old knock-up things on the beach either. One of that is enough. I don't think Friars Bay should be like that. But I really feel that the present occupiers of that land, the beach, shall we say, should be given concessions to continue operating there under strict regulations, under proper, that their buildings must be aesthetically pleasing, and so on.
But I spoke to that. I spoke to that earlier.
But at the same time, it has to be in consultation with the developers. That's what I'm getting.
But I already stated that. But it seemed that you were unclear as to whether I was dealing with the private land as opposed to the Crown lands. I already stated that where it deals with the Crown lands, the government can then negotiate with the Ritz-Carlton and say, look, I'm going to make sure that my locals have access to the beach, but I'm going to also impress upon them that they must, whatever structure they put there, must fit the aesthetics that carries the ambience of what you want to represent.
Okay.
I spoke to that.
And I'm just saying that so far you get the impression that the government is bending over backwards to accommodate the developers at the expense of the locals. The Attorney General went on to do damage control, basically giving the idea that, well, those beach owners, those beach bar owners, they are totally wrong. They should get out of there.
I
this is a
still feel
development.
though, Mr. McMahon and Africa, that until someone comes and refutes what he says, the points that he made about you being given due time, you've been told so and so and so, you've been given other options, they still come into play. Now, if some new individuals want to come and occupy that beach Crownland area and they go through the procedure, but for those who were there before, who were given ample time, who were told what the process was going to be and were given option, I do not agree with you or anyone who would say that they should be allowed to be there when they know what was going to eventually happen and they were given options.
When
Yes.
if I might come in now,
Yeah, go ahead.
and
We're over time, but I'm going to let us
Yes,
finish
yes.
this and then we'll wrap.
for the fact that I am a stakeholder of the industry,
Yes.
and for the fact that I patronize those areas, I get my guests, I encourage them to go on the beaches, especially at Sunday time, and for the fact of the feedback that I have gotten from so many of my guests,
Yes.
I am mortally afraid that we're going to take away from the industry the authenticity of the experience, that these thousands of visitors who grace our shores will want to come back and experience over and over again.
I agree.
That will be sanitized.
And I agree with you, and I hear you on that. That is why I say any new individuals who want to come and occupy that vicinity, the government now must accommodate them, but in cooperation with the aesthetics of the area. I agree with you and Mr. McMahon on that.
And the government has the record. I attend seminars. The government has the record as to the positive feedback that they get from us and from the guests. That they now should always make a case with foreign investors as to allow the locals and the authenticity of what the locals provide to be part and parcel of any negotiation.
I agree.
Because we cannot afford. We ain't dealing with a pie in the sky, not. We're dealing with real, authentic experience, St. Kitts and Nevis, Petition and Nevision experience.
I agree. But let me...
The mindset of the government is what is suspect here. The mindset.
I will agree.
And it's all well and good to go to Africa and talk unity and all sorts of things and cooperation and so on.
Yes.
There are things at home that right here at home
dance a
that
yard.
we need to fix.
Yeah, dance a yard before you dance abroad. I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't think that we should be telling the government what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to know that when it comes to the aesthetics of the beach, that is Crownlands, and whether it adds to the ambience of the visitor experience, they know. They shouldn't be excluding their citizens from this. This is why I have no argument when it comes to the beach.
Why people have to complain so much about things that they do?
So then that is another...
You would think that a lot of things are common sense, eh?
I would.
But you'd be surprised once the politics get involved that they make decisions based on things other than common sense.
And we have examples of that, because you look at Jamaica, and what has happened in Jamaica is deplorable, where people come, external hotels and whatever, and they have their private lands, but they're also saying that locals can't go to the beach, fishermen can't ply their trades and all that kind of nonsense. So yes, we have examples of that, and we don't want that to happen here.
And you can bet your life that happened in a kind of a creep-up fashion.
Yes.
It didn't just happen overnight.
I agree.
And that is why we, people should speak out now about the possibilities of things happening. I think the government, both St. Kitts and Nevis, have this idea that they hide behind, well, we should just deal with the facts. The facts are what is.
I agree.
What can happen if you're not visionary enough to deal with what can happen and forestall it? We'll be in trouble. We can end up in all kind of bad
I
places.
agree with you on that. It is foolhardy and absolutely ridiculous for anyone to come and say, let's use the Nevis example with that 500 acres of land, and it is foolish for any individual associated with the government, whether on Nevis and or the St. End, to come and say to us, well, just let it play out, just let it work out. That is nonsense. We don't want to wait. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we don't want to wake up and see this happening. So we want to. This is why I say when it comes to the Nevis thing, they've said nothing to us that makes any sense. You pass a bill, and we don't see the relevance of you passing a bill because you can't tell us what the development will be. We're hearing all kind of rumors. You say rumors, but we don't have the facts from you. Until we get the facts from you, we will have rumors and we will speculate. And you are to blame because you did not bring us the facts.
And until that
right.
day,
and
I will always
and it's getting them to have the mindset of giving information.
Don't two of you can't speak at one time.
In terms of representing ordinary people who serve and give an authentic experience within the services.
And that is what we have to stand guard against. We have to stand guard against where the government might come to us and say, look, we're going to bring so and so and so, but they're vague on what will happen when it comes to the local contingent. We want to know, yes, just like you say you're going to bring the Ritz-Carlton do whatever, but we also want to know that within that, the scope of the Crown lands, and let me emphasize again, whenever you say Crown lands, it means beach. And we do not want to be hearing that you give Ritz-Carlton and next thing you know, the proximity adjacent to Ritz-Carlton, our people can't go there and have access and enjoy life.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Okay.
I just want to put a plug in for the program tomorrow to the general public.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, Quinn.
So you can
Thanks,
also,
Mr. McMahon.
Mr. McMahon, you can make your final statement.
Yeah, I'm just glad that we can at least discuss these things. It is very important that we discuss these things and hold the government accountable for providing information, because that is the big problem. Okay, they're not transparent and open. They claim to be, but they're nowhere near. They operate just like previous government.
Yes.
To be quite honest.
I agree.
And that we have to somehow get it into their head that is unacceptable in this particular period of time.
Yeah, I agree.
They have to do things differently.
I agree.
Right? People are not going to sit down and take whatever the government said because it's the government. We know better than that.
The government
we've been burned too much in the past.
And we see other examples on other islands. The government should learn from these. You see this bit of a back and forth, a bit of a heated discussion we had this morning. A mature government observes, listens, and learns. A mature government should realize that if we have something in the making, let us bring it to the people. Let us have our debate, back and forth, heated, yes, but in the end, we are aware of what the people are comfortable with, because remember, the people who are the ones who have allowed you to be in that position. Yes, you can now reach out to investors, but you couldn't reach out to those investors if the people didn't give you that power. So why now are you exempting the people and accommodating the investors? No, always accommodate your people, even when you embrace investors.
I'm gonna. This is the final thing. I'm gonna make it a point, Quinn. Maybe not today, because I have other things planned today, but by tomorrow, go over, visit those bars over there.
Yes.
And see if I can talk to somebody over there and hear their point of view on this.
Yes.
And also look at the lay of the land there, because somehow I'm still not convinced that they're entirely on the property of the developer.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
Okay then.
Okay, take care. Thanks for your indulgence. We've gone 22 minutes over time, but we didn't have another program after, so we took the liberty. Do take care. May the Almighty Creator be your God, guide, and strength, and continue to not only have a great day, but a great life.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.